yourself is that you are a separate individual, that you could live and you can die. And I'm asking you to question that. On that, even on that deepest level, to question that. How do you know that you will die? That the you of you will die, when there is a huge body of information coming from 25,000 years ago that state that this is not true? Why do we then pick up the things that say it is true? Why have we not made, as the part of our ongoing being, those truths? Why do we take the infinitely measured truth that comes out now, that we will die and that we're nothing but I don't know what's, and whatever the story would be for your story? Why do we not believe? They have stated it over and over, that those who have touched on, what do they call it these days? They call it probably awareness, consciousness, whichever one works for you. People who have touched on and immersed themselves in their self has been immersed in that to such an extent that the separate self is no longer present. What do they all say, down to the last person? They say that that is, they don't even use the word eternal, because eternal is in time. Eternal means beginning, middle, and end. They don't even use eternal. They use beautiful words, like they don't even use no boundaries, because everything is dualistic. It's this sense of always being. Always being. Whatever way it is spoken of endlessly, indicating that whatever that is, that we all call I am this and I am that, and I do this and I do that, I think this and I want that, that I is somehow, when investigated, to deeply dissolve itself into something that is never, ever not present. Never not present. And they state again and again, it is their absolute understanding that when the body-mind goes, and all of the senses that go with that, that is still ever and always there. That is the kind of thing, that kind of daring, risking, giving up your ideas of how your mind would have it work, and allowing yourself to just dissolve, even if it's just for an instant, to dissolve into that. And it's, people say, oh, I don't know how to do it, and I want it to be always, and well, it's going to be always sometime, When you're dead, it's going to be always, So you'll get there. I'm trying to have a little levity here, but the point being that if you take the slightest amount of time now, while alive, before your death is staring you in the face, this will become more and more and more apparent. There will be an unnameable something that is so intimate that you feel its intimacy in a way that nothing in the world has ever touched. It's a point of intimacy. It is a point of intimacy, and it just takes shutting up. Bartholomew had it right. The last thing he says is, shut up, sit down, and be there. Shut up, sit down. Simple. You don't even have to sit down. And I've found in my profession, you don't even have to shut up in this ongoing talk. Right now, all of us are experiencing the same oneness. We are all experiencing the exact same thing. We are all experiencing the same thing. Why? Because there is only one thing. And it's not even one, it's like not two. Tony Parsons made a point of this. If you say oneness, that's different from not two. Can you feel the difference? Not two. If you say oneness, we have created a one, have we not? I mean, you know, haven't we? All right, but if we say not to, that leaves you hanging. Isn't it wonderful? Not to. Not to. But we are all that same thing. Isn't that amazing? We are all that. We are all that. All of us, everywhere. And so is the wall. And so is the rug. And so is whatever you most dislike. And so is whatever you'd most like not want to be. And so is any feeling you have about yourself that puts you in less than. But is it not amazing that there is only one experience going on here? And you say, oh, no, 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 you know, I cut my finger and Joy doesn't feel it. And I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about something far more intimate, far more available. For us to talk about my cutting my finger and it not being joy, listen to all the words and thoughts that have to arise. One, there has to be a separate Mary Margaret with a separate finger, with a separate knife that can cut her separate finger, and then a separate person named Joy will not have the same thing happen to her separate finger. Do you get it? All those imagery, look at all the words, look at all the stuff that arises. That's not what he's talking about. He's talking about none of that. He's talking about what is intimate with what you're looking at right now. Do you have to work to see me? Do you have to go, let's see, there Margaret's up there and there's Joy and I've got to make sure that I see them. Is that what happens? Or is it not this amazing, I can see, and then somebody says, who's that seeing? Let's not get confused and try and name things. Let's just be aware. How hard is it to recognize that you are seeing? How hard is that? How hard is it to see? People come to me, I have clients and they say things like, well, I realize that there's something that's seeing through my eyes that's not, say, whoever, I'll make it Mary Margaret, that it's not Mary Margaret. And so then I have to concentrate on whatever that is that's seeing. Do you see what we've done? We've created again. We've created something separate that sees separately. Something is looking through our eyes that, listen, something seeing through our eyes that we don't recognize.